The Squid Game introduced us to many interesting characters. One of them is Minsu, player 125. This young man drew attention for his extreme shyness, and the series used the character to present us with a story of tragedy and pain. That's why today on Charlietales I want to analyze the story of Minsu. We'll go over his character arc, and I'll tell you why he is the most human player in the series. Ready? Let's begin. Minsu is a 27-year-old young man who, like all the other characters, entered the Squid Game deeply in debt. There's not much information about his past. In fact, Minsu remained hidden during the beginning of Season 2. He doesn't appear in the doll game, but we understand that he managed to win the game. Minsu's first official appearance occurs in the pentathlon. Here, he is recruited by Team Thanos to play alongside them. This moment would be key for his entire character development. The members of Team Thanos would write what would become Minsu's sad tragedy. To analyze this character and understand his motivations, we must begin with something important: his relationship with Sammy, player 380. This woman is the foundation of his entire story. Sammy is the first person who paid attention to Minsu. In the pentathlon game, everyone had to form teams of 5 people. Thanos wanted to recruit Sammy, but she only agreed to join the team if they included Minsu. This part is very interesting. Minsu begins the series being invisible, both to us and to the other players. No one wanted him on their team. Sammy is the one who changes this and gives him visibility. Thanks to her, Minsu found a team and managed to survive. On several occasions, Sammy showed appreciation for Minsu. We're not talking about romantic affection, but rather a fraternal one. She acted like his sister, giving him advice. In Season 2, there's a scene where Namgyu tried to bother Minsu, but she stepped in to defend him. It's clear that this woman felt genuine appreciation for Minsu, and even advised him to vote to leave the games, as someone as innocent as him wouldn't survive. It seemed that both would have a long-lasting relationship, but everything changes in the carousel game. In this game, they are ordered to form teams of 3, so someone has to separate. Sammy tells Minsu to take her hand so they can look for a third person together, but Thanos and Namgyu offer him the chance to go with them to complete the 3 players. Under pressure, Minsu betrays Sammy and leaves her alone. This allows him to survive, but the cost is high. The trust with his friend is completely broken. She was always kind to him, yet he abandoned her. Here questions arise. Can we really blame Minsu for this betrayal, or would any of us have done the same? The director of the series, Hwang Dong-hyuk, has spoken about Minsu in interviews and commented that he is the most human character of all. His cowardice may upset many, but it is part of human nature. He represents a version of ourselves. With this context, we can better understand the character. Minsu did betray Sammy, but not out of malice. He did it out of cowardice and lack of character. He was simply a coward. All this becomes clearer when we reach the end of Season 2. Here, a massacre breaks out among all the players, and Namgyu takes advantage of the situation to attack Sammy. Minsu witnesses the situation and has the opportunity to help her, but terror completely overwhelms him. He throws a bottle in a desperate attempt to help, but he can't move any further. Sammy ends up eliminated at the hands of Namgyu. This event would mark the end of Minsu. From here, there's no turning back. His friend died, and guilt will consume him. Once again, Minsu shows that he's just a person, a cowardly guy. Again, the question arises, what would we have done? Would we really have gone down to face Namgyu? Or would we have chickened out? Surely many of us would risk our lives for a family member. But would we do it for a woman we just met? Here comes the point of the entire video. The sad reality is that many of us would have acted like Minsu. Some think that if the games were real, they would be brave protagonists, like Gi-hun. Or maybe heroes like player 120. But the harsh reality is that most normal people would succumb to fear in a deadly situation. Most people would be like Minsu. We'd freeze at the possibility of death. This character reminds us in a sad way that we are not special, nor chosen. Basically, he reminds us of the harsh reality outside of fiction. In Season 3, Minsu feels tormented for abandoning his friend. He finds Thanos' drugs and takes them. Thanks to them, he suffers hallucinations. He desperately searches for Sammy to save her. He is remorseful, but it's already too late. Despite everything, Minsu managed to avenge his friend's death. In the jump rope game, he sets a trap for Namgyu. This scene shows us that Minsu is intelligent despite everything. He managed to detect Namgyu's weakness with the drugs, and thanks to that, he was able to eliminate him. However, after this, his story becomes a tragedy again. Miraculously, Minsu reaches the finals, but here his luck runs out. He no longer has any drugs, so he suffers from withdrawal syndrome. At this point, Min-soo has no options. He has no allies, no physical strength, no way to defend himself. The other players want to throw him into the void. His end is inevitable. However, before being eliminated, he suffers from hallucinations. Here, he sees the three people who meant the most to him during the games. I'm talking about Thanos, Nam-gyu, and Sammy. Thanos appears friendly, even comforting. He always treated him like a kind of younger brother. Thanos wasn't an angel, but he also didn't set out to hurt Min-soo. Nam-gyu appears as a bully. He was indeed a difficult guy to deal with. His appearance represents terror for Min-soo. But without a doubt, the most painful vision is that of Sammy. She represents all of Min-soo's regrets. She was the only good person to him, and even so, he betrayed her. Nam-gyu's vision is terrifying, but Sammy's hurts more. Despite everything, she is friendly. She offers her hand to Min-soo to accompany her to the other world. In a way, it's as if she's forgiving him. But of course, all this is just a drug-induced hallucination. Sammy is dead. She's not forgiving anyone. Min-soo imagines this to ease his pain a little, but it's just an illusion. The series reminds us once again that Min-soo represents how sad the real world is. The way Min-soo is eliminated tells us a lot about his character. He simply went out as a sad and even pathetic person. Sometimes tragedies happen without meaning. There is no fate or lessons. Poor Min-soo was never the protagonist of the series. He didn't help Gi-hun, nor did he take part in his rebellion. He was invisible and irrelevant. For this very reason, many created theories around his character. We tried to fill the void. Some believed that he would turn out to be an infiltrated VIP. But the reality is no. It's hard to accept that someone can be so irrelevant in a story. But that was Min-soo's function. His plot didn't connect to the main story. He had his own character arc, quite small and insignificant in the end. He didn't contribute to Gi-hun's victory. He didn't help stop the games. He did nothing because he is a normal person, almost an NPC. There are many characters who also died in tragic ways. But unlike Min-soo, they were relevant to the story. For example, player 120. She was eliminated for protecting her friends. And because of this kindness, the baby made it into Gi-hun's hands. Everything connected for the grand finale. Player 333 was a villain and shined in the story for his evilness. The old lady and her son told us a tragedy that helped Gi-hun regain the strength to fight. Everyone had a purpose that was felt in the series. Min-soo, on the other hand, had his story on the side. It didn't connect to anything. That was always his goal, to represent us. Min-soo couldn't be considered a villain, nor an anti-hero. He was simply a cowardly guy who got involved where he shouldn't have. That's why this video talks about the tragedy of his life. Some deaths are tragic, but sometimes living while being invisible is even more tragic. That's all for today. If you liked the video, you'd really help me out by leaving a like. That would be legendary. Also, remember to subscribe to see more videos like this. Thanks for listening. My name is Charlie, and I'll see you in the future.